Well, we got it home. Now we just need to figure out how to get it off here. This butcher block came from an old mine here in Alaska, and supposedly it's been at the mine since the 50s. They just flew it out. He wants to restore this thing for his wife for a Christmas present, and this thing has seen a lot of abuse. It's a little stinky, it's grimy, it's got a lot of patina, a lot of character, but it needs a lot of love. Here is about an hour with 80 grit, and I put a little finish there and there because of the position and the way they must have been chopping on this thing for a long time. This whole section right here is just really hammered, and you know, it's really smashed any detail in the end grain and the joints. Well, this is a pretty big difference. I mean, that is who knows how many years of stuff, but it runs deep. Picked up these casters, some vintage style replica casters. They're aged. They are called vintage style. I went with 6-inch, mainly because he has pine floors and they're soft. And in the 4 and 5 inch, they were only an inch and a quarter wide. So these are 2 inches wide. It's going to give it a lot more surface area. These all came off. They're all numbered. You know, they're all split, and I'm not sure why they're split, but I don't know. I think this might be a double-sided dowel. One into the bottom of the butcher block, one into the leg. You can see it runs deep in there. Well, the bottom cleaned up way easier than the sides and the top. And now seeing the numbers and thinking about it, pretty sure I know what this is. So this is December 1942. Man, that's pretty sweet. Well, wasn't super excited about doing that, but the two nicest plugs were definitely the cleanest. Well, it turns out I lost all the caps. This one was pretty bad too. Bunch of looks like worm or beetle, and I don't know if that's original or if it was from being out in the field since 1942. Second coat on here, it's actually working pretty good. Thickened it up with some sawdust. So when I fill the bottom of this thing, it's going to go through these cracks and probably fill up the bolt holes where I need to not have epoxy in there so I can make the dowels. Quite a few shims. My floor is not the straightest, but we are nice and level. Ready for our first little pour. Mainly this pour is just going to be injecting into the, the larger cracks here and starting to fill some of these deeper areas. It's not going to be any kind of surface pouring. Okay, I put 8 ounces down that 3/16 crack. I was like, well, that's a lot. Where's it going? There it is. This whole thing is full. Well, last night turned into a mess, but I think I was able to get it. We'll see when I unwrap it if I made a whole huge pile of extra work for myself or not. I got to sand down the legs, but they came out actually really good. I was able to get them to fill into the cracks really well, and those should hopefully last for another 50, 70 years. Still much work there. These are going to get epoxied in. Talking with the owner, he's all for it, making these permanent. These were cut at some point to put that base on, and they're just a wee bit off here. So that last coat came out pretty good. Definitely more oil saturated spots here where it has these huge, it's way bigger than a fisheye. The huge spots where the epoxy pulled away from the wood. I didn't realize with this, especially on how dry it was. I didn't notice that the oil was all the way through and in some areas. So I'm going to sand down the surface, just scuff it, sand this a little bit. I'm going to try to suck some of the oil out with acetone or denatured alcohol, and then I'm going to try spraying a clear coat paint, acrylic, UV resistant. Just do a light coat since it's super fast drying, and hopefully if I can get it to dry fast enough to at least cover this, then it won't fisheye when I do a flood layer. Well, last coat on the bottom is on. Pretty happy with how it came out. Now we'll see how much work I made for myself once I pull this mold off and unwrap it and see what cracks got filled, what didn't, and what got filled that I didn't want. Not too bad, and you can still see the 1242. Sometimes you just got to get out and enjoy the sunset. Take a break from butcher blocks and cutting boards. Well, it's cured for 2 days, and it's plenty hard enough for me to flip and start working on and start sanding. Got the base for it all glued up. Borrowed a buddy's domino. That worked out pretty sweet. Got the charcuterie board. So it's nice, and these cracks came all the way through. All the way through. Oh, this one came through on the bottom. So some of these didn't. I'll have to pour each side of those. And then here was the first pour, and this, I kind of knew this was going to happen at some point, but it shouldn't be too bad to sand, I think. Well, so far, not too shabby. It's definitely going to hold together for a long time. It's not going to be coming apart anytime soon. Character's still there. The cracks really did get filled really well. This is where my mold came apart on me, and She's a little thick, but she should seem pretty good. All the cracks were filled. Last side coming together pretty dang sweet. Trying to match some of the age and maybe even kind of patina, but trying to add the age at least and being beat up. So I cleaned up this chain, giving her some good wax, and hopefully it won't look so nice and new. What do you call that? Flogging the butcher block? And we'll see what the end result is. Pretty happy how those came out. Casters are on. Whew. Starting to look good. Coming together. It's midnight. Glad I'm finally here. The moment I've been waiting for. The moment we've been all waiting for.